What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Thursday, January 25th, Royal Rumble week, and a absolutely crazy week in professional wrestling. We had an unbelievable AEW Dynamite last night. We've got a fun throwback topic for everybody, and we're going to get into it today. I got to introduce my two co-hosts. Can't wait to get into this. First and foremost, over in Philadelphia, our head of opinions, Anthony Ricciardi. How are you doing on this Thursday afternoon?
I'm doing all right. I'm very excited about doing the show. It's Rumble week. It's always an exciting time with all that, and we're obviously going to be covering Rumble moments in the throwback. And before I forget, even though he's probably not watching right now, I want to wish my buddy Chris a happy birthday.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, Chris. And shout out Nick Open, my own friend, too, by the way, as far as happy birthdays too. His was yesterday. Sorry, I missed that one yesterday myself, Anthony. Not to overshadow Chris's birthday. Happy birthday, Chris. As well, it's Thursday. It's not Tuesday, but we do have the Tuesday Night Delight in the building today, all the way from the DMV. Shad Huda, how are you doing, my friend?
Throw them twos up for the Tuesday Night Delight. I keep it shot 100 on these podcasts. I'm good, bro. I'm very tired today. I had to help Mom Dukes and Pops move. They're moving to a smaller place, and I hate moving. So I'm glad I don't have to move anytime soon. But I'm good, man. Ready to talk about Dynamite last night. We got the Royal Rumble on Saturday. It's going to be crazy. I'm excited for our throwback topic. And cop this also, Mogul Embassy hoodie right here, man. I swerve when I dance. I don't swerve when I drive. Let's get it.
I hear you. Let's get after it today. Unfortunately, we do have to start the show with one of the biggest headlines in all of not just sports, but entertainment as well. And I'm going to have to just take a few minutes here to break it down really quickly. So Vince McMahon has been accused of sex trafficking allegations in civil court by a former employee who signed a non-disclosure agreement. This is something that is an active civil case, could lead to criminal charges as well. It's something we take very seriously over here at Wrestling Republic, and it's something that we're just not going to break down as far as on this show. There's no reason to discuss much beyond what has happened. Brock Lesnar, John Laurinaitis also implicated in this one as far as what has been reported by both Wall Street Journal as well as the New York Post, as well as multiple media outlets. This is a developing story. It's something that deeply affects, obviously, the outlook going forward as far as the TKO stuff and the future of the WWE. I don't necessarily know what it means in the short term, if it will affect anything Royal Rumble related, but this is obviously an active story. It's something TKO came out with a statement about. Of course, they're going to investigate internally as well. There's a lot going on here, and it's a difficult situation to cover. So on today's show, as much as it's one of those things that it is all over the headlines. It's all over what's going on currently in the wrestling landscape. We're gonna do our best and just break down Dynamite and break down a fun throwback Thursday topic for everybody. So I hope you guys stay tuned for the entertainment, and I appreciate that. This story isn't necessarily about what happened here. Or this show today is not necessarily about what happened here. The story though is unbelievable, and if you have access to the Wall Street Journal, I would recommend reading the article. It is really brutal. The accusations are pretty damning. to put it lightly, and we take that very seriously here at Wrestling Republic. So with that, though, let's get into the show. Unfortunately, we're going to break down Dynamite, guys. That's where we're going from here. And I thank everybody for tuning in. Stay with us here, and we'll get it going. Last night's Dynamite, my friends. We had Hangman Page versus Penta El Cero Miedo. Awesome matchup in my eyes. Something I was looking forward to. Two absolute sluggers, and we won with one of the biggest slugs in the game, the buckshot lariat. Stan Hansen-esque with a front flip. I'll take it every single time. I enjoyed the match. Anthony, I'm going to toss this to you and ask you what you thought about it.
I gotta be honest. I don't think this was a strong episode of Dynamite. I was not a fan of the show as a whole. That's probably going to come throughout my comments on this show. I thought this was one of the weaker opening matches that they've had for the past couple weeks. Is it as great on paper as this match seemed? I really, for some reason, this match did not do anything for me. It did not excite me as a strong opening match should. And that's a shame because of the talent that's involved in this. I just don't think it was a strong opening match, and I don't think it was a strong episode as a whole. So,
yeah, absolutely. I hear that. I enjoyed the match personally when it came to Hangman and Penta. I mean, two of the best wrestlers on the planet going after it. Shad, what were your thoughts on that match as far as Hangman and Penta was concerned?
I mean, I thought it was a pretty good match. Overall, I've come to the realization where I might be this big of a Hangman fan, but like I don't feel like he does anything bad as a professional wrestler, and that goes in ring, and that goes within character wise. And I'm intrigued more so about the story that is going to be told, tied to him, and obviously tied to my man's Swerve Strickland. And that's going for Mr. Samoa Joe's title belt. I feel the one key thing that happened prior to it, we had the Samoa Joe uh starring off the show and acknowledging the fact that he's got the bullseye on his back, but he's not backing down the competition. He's playing a more prestige role now. He's got the suit. He's telling people they are unworthy for a title reign. And I'm excited to see if we can get in a good place where this is going to be the triple threat match for the AEW championship. I think Hangman and Swerve's hatred towards each other and this, ongoing feud that has been continuing for a long time now is going to be interesting. But you add the mix of Samoa Joe and just how good of a heel Joe is, this new wrinkle to his character on the AW surface uh, can make it even more interesting. Because will it be a case where we'll see a new champion between one of those guys who are pretty deserving, or will Joe be able to put these two against each other in a match where it benefits him? We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see if the match actually happens. I'm speculating all that, so don't act like that's actually booked. But all in all, it's good. I will say one thing though, and this wasn't on the topic thing, bro. Speaking of Samoa Joe, your man's, your boy, Mr. Hook, that guy needs to have no reason talking on the live mic, because that man sounded so soft spoken and so unbelievable approaching Joe yesterday. I did not like that, bro. I was like,
Oh,
I did not like it. I thought he did so good last week, and him coming out there and doing that, it it shrugged me off like so much. I was like, ah, man, he's not ready yet. He's not ready yet. I'm sorry,
I
Mark.
I hear ya. I think he's the soft-spoken kid that sits by the lockers and you can't take his lunch money. And I respect that out of Hook. I think that's
He
who
ain't
Hook
take
is.
Joe's money last week.
Nah, but
Joe,
Joe
Joe a
didn't
big
take
boy.
his
He's still
either.
eating good.
Joe
Oh,
didn't take
he
his
he
either.
took his lunch. His
No,
rings
he
was
didn't.
the
Hook
coins was
still ate.
the coins was flying in the air like
Hook
Sonic hitting
still
a
ate.
spike. Like all of his coins in his pocket for the lunch money flying all over the
Yeah,
air like
yeah,
Sonic hit a
yeah,
spike.
yeah. Well, the number one Hookamaniac strongly disagrees, and I've
With
been
a
still eating my chips and taking my vitamins. and Hookamania is going to run wild on you someday, Shad. But I will say we have a ton of comments here that I want to get into. We have a really nice one over here from King Luchador saying, I feel you, I believe, on Anthony's take from earlier. Coach 23 with, I agree, it was a weak episode. No storyline progression except for Storm slash Perazzo. IMJ Skeet added Penta is only there to keep losing, and I hate it. That does bother me, the amount of Penta losses. But now that records are back, you'd hope that Penta gets pushed up the card. At least that's, you know,
Well, is Ray Phoenix hurt?
Ray Phoenix is injured currently, and then Coach 23 added, to be fair, the main event slash world title picture in AEW right now is kind of weak compared to the first 4 years. Heck, MJF late last year had more problems slash issues with other wrestlers. I don't know, man. I would say that Perazzo and Storm was built very well. We're going to get into that topic later. We've also got a few more comments over here on the YouTube side from Numeral on Superfly. Hello on this crazy day. Yes, it has been a crazy day, my friend. And then from Lego or Logoland, Logoland.
He said Legoland.
Yeah, sorry. Legoland is just south of me in San Diego. That really does exist. That's a real place. I actually drove.
Hey, Lego sponsor us.
Yeah, no, it's like, but appreciate the daily content, dudes. We appreciate you as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. And then another one, did attendance and reaction for last night's Dynamite possibly affect the flow or aura for the show? I absolutely agree. I mean, from what I understand, I don't think they're going to go back to Savannah anytime soon. I don't know on that.
That's been a problem more than just Savannah.
It could be interesting. Yeah, it's a fascinating story as far as the attendance is concerned, but at the same time, if you're looking at the way that tickets have sold for Revolution and other events, it does seem to be city to city, and it does seem to be in different markets tickets sell well, and in different markets tickets don't sell as well. And I would say that's a big factor. Let's get into what I thought was maybe the steal the show segment of the night. And that's Toni Storm and the virtuoso herself, Deonna Purrazzo. The black and white, the Technicolor stuff. Oh, it's nothing short of delightful. Nothing short of delightful. The black and white, half and half, I loved every second of. The ankle tattoo, interesting as could be. I'm super, super curious where this goes as far as the ankle tattoo is concerned and as far as the rivalry is concerned. We now know the real life friendship. What I think would be fascinating along the way is maybe if somehow we have a promo in the black and white, in the old school aesthetic, and we have Deonna Purrazzo have to cross over into the world that Toni Storm's living in currently in black and white and be all freaked out. I think that could be a fun segment. Fun as could be. I would enjoy that. But either way, last night's promo I loved, and I really do want to see what they're doing with that ankle tattoo. Shad, what were your thoughts on the promo? And don't you think this is an awesome world title rivalry?
So you want it to be like Loki, huh? They just go into different dimensions. This is a Tony Storm variant
Yeah.
from the 1950s. Okay, interesting. I don't mind that. I thought this was definitely the most interesting thing that did happen last night as well in regards to segment wise. I feel that I said this a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, also. So let me take my victory lap. Tony Storm has been missing a serious feud. Tony Storm has been missing a competitor that is going to take her somewhat out of the element of the silly, out of this world type of gimmick. And that person is going to be Deonna Purrazzo. You know, I love Rio. I thought she was a great competitor for her. We saw all the stuff that happened within the Outcast and Sheeta. We never really got an opponent that matched the over the top character or brought that over the top character into the world of making it an actual feud. Deonna brings a lot more realism to it because Deonna Purrazzo is a renowned world champion. She even said it yesterday in their back and forth exchange. Arguably one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, one of the best technical women in the world. And it's one of those cases where you, as a competitor and as a champion, can't take her for granted. So I love that aspect to it. But what they did yesterday, going back, telling a story about these two living with each other, having matching ankle tattoos, this now becomes a matchup between, hey, sis, I know the real you. This ain't the real you. And if I got to beat that real you out from this fictional character, you have me with my undivided attention because I love the aspect of realism and personal stories within storylines within professional wrestling. Not everything has to be over the top fake and all of that. This is a nice wrinkle to the storyline. Um and I'm here for it, man. I think Deanna's presentation thus far has been good. They're letting her kind of do her work within the in-ring wise, giving her matchups upon matchups. And I think this is gonna be one that's gonna be for the books. I'm kind of divided on who I want to win because I think Tony Storm at this moment is the hottest thing in AEW character wise. People absolutely love her. Like she's over like Rover, bro. She's doing her thing. And on the other side, bro, this is a very hot commodity signing you got. This is a person who's got the aura and presence of a world champion. It's a tough one, but it's also a good problem to have because you go into the pay per view if they do fight at the pay per view, not knowing who could win. So I'm excited for it, man. Also, one other thing, I know it's not on the topics. Shout outs to Serena Deeb. I heard you coming back. I'm so happy,
Yes.
man. Northern Virginia stand up. She's from Oakland, Virginia. That's only 25 minutes from where I live.
Love it.
The real best technical wrestler on AEW.
Serena Deeb can go, no doubt, too. And I listened to Thunder Rosa's appearance this morning on Busted Open, or yesterday. I apologize, I believe. Yeah, no, this morning. And Rosa was great this morning on the first hour. You have Deeb coming back. Everyone getting healthy. Dr. Britt, my favorite, hopefully soon returning. You add the Virtuosa to this equation. You add on top of that, the work Tony Storm's doing is hard to deny, man. Tony Storm has looked that good. I mean, to adapt to your style, which was already quality, already over, to fit this gimmick, it doesn't feel like a gimmick anymore. And that to me is the brilliance. Um, the AEW women's division looks really good. And I hope this lasts all the way through Revolution, I think, in Greensboro. And I think that's the way to go. Anthony, do you have any thoughts on that promo from last night?
I thought it was the strongest moment of the show. I thought it was very well done. The split screen reminded me of the Batman Forever movie, where they're in Two Face's hideout and half of it's normal and half of it's deranged. That's what the split screen. That's what it reminded me of. I thought it was a solid promo. It turning personal, that they have a personal connection. I thought that was a nice touch. I would have liked them to have elaborated more on the tattoo, the meaning behind it. If they didn't do it last night, I'm hoping they get more into it. Maybe a sit down interview with Deanna and she tells the story of what the origin of the tattoo was. If there is a good story to it, it could just be, we got drunk one night and we got a tattoo. I don't know, but like turning that personal, and if Deanna's the one that dethrones her, I could see Tony going deeper into she's losing her mind, like a Hollywood actress that expected to win the Oscar and lost to a rival, and they lose it. Like I think you could go crazier with the character if she loses the title.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And we got great comments over here on Instagram, by the way, from Coach23. He said AEW has a great stack of women's wrestlers. Storylines among them should improve. And then he also added an Anthony. This is a shout out because I know Coach23. He's a friend of the show and he's a good dude. And he added Anthony, dude, stop showing our age. That cracked me up. I saw that in the comments. We're doing it's the old guy show. It's throwback. It's the old guy show. We all do our best here.
Yeah, this is the 30 club, man.
Yeah, you don't get many.
we all in our 30s, man. So this is the 30 club.
Yeah, we're not quite Jay-Z, but we're in the 30-30 club here. For sure.
I got a few more years of that.
Yeah, we're waiting on 40. That'll happen someday. But honestly, I'm with you. My thought was, how about next week you have Tony Storm maybe attacked by Deanna? You pull that sock down, the tattoo's not there. That'd be kind of fascinating there. Like, what tattoo? And just denies that
she showed it. Oh, yeah,
she did show, but no, like, yeah, I got it. It was removed.
And then if they show the footage, it's doctored footage. It's all a lie. Yeah,
it's beneath me.
Go to a. Oh my gosh, that'd be funny.
It's so far beneath me. I'm like, man, there's so much you could do with this storyline. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, let's get into the next one though, which is, of course, Jeff Hardy in action on All Elite Dynamite against Swerve Strickland. Anthony, you and I are both big Jeff Hardy fans, but this was just about Swerve checking off the bucket list, wasn't it?
This, without a doubt, I've said this before on the show. I grew up during the Hardy era where there's a rise. I was a Hardy fan. I don't think either Hardy should still be wrestling, personally. I thought it was a good match for him, but realistically, you're looking at it like this is just randomly booked. Jeff is now, it's now a 180. Jeff went from jobbing in the WWF back in the day before the Hardys took off to now he's jobbing to AEW people, and he should job to Swerve. Swerve's the guy on the way up. This was essentially for Swerve to check off a box going, I've beaten a legend and a future Hall of Famer. That's what this was. It was not a great match. It was adequate. It was not anything that I'd be going, oh, you got to see this match with Swerve and Jeff Hardy. This was, Swerve carrying Jeff through a match. That's what it was.
I hear you there. I mean, Swerve did maybe have to carry him for sure. Nostalgia and me, we only have so many Jeff Hardy matches left in the tank. But it was one that, I mean, it's Swerve Strickland, and along the way on the checklist, he beat Jeff Hardy. I'll take it, right? Shad, did you have anything?
Yeah, it's difficult, bro. It's really difficult. Like, I hate seeing my idols become old at this point, right? And I would rather have fond memories of them at their peak and when they're doing what they do. It's like football, man. If you have one of your favorite players way past his prime trying to play and not doing anything and playing very bad, like for us, the Eagles, Julio Jones this year, I was like, I remember Julio Jones was the best receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
This isn't the Julio I want to see. So
that is not who we signed.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it was okay. It was serviceable. I think it did its part. It was a whatever TV match, but Jeff definitely is kind of dwindling off. And I also, the other thing is this, and I know that he's been having his little rumblings and making remarks on social media, and this is playing to a character that's coming where he's maybe going heel. I have zero interest for it.
Yeah. And Coach 23 added Swerve adjusted from this match with Jeff Hardy last night. He went from 100% to like 60%. I think speed-wise, that's probably was required in order to work the match, but I wouldn't hold that against him.
He's a pro at it, yeah.
Next time he straps in for a match, I would expect closer to 100.
You could tell at certain points during the match where like Swerve was helping him through. Like that, and you did see that throughout the match.
Okay, Coach 23 is on a rollover in the comments. This is a good one. He goes, it was a match of Buzz Lightyear, in parentheses, Swerve, versus Rex, in parentheses, Jeff Hardy, hashtag Toy Story. That's funny. Okay, I that's funny, and I know funny. Coach 23, I appreciate that comment. That's a good one. But let's talk about, speaking of returns, Thunder Rosa's back. She's out of the commentary desk, one of my favorite wrestlers. I listened to her this morning on Busted Open. I thought she was unbelievable in explaining everything about the return, the fact that most of her most violent parts of her move set involved drivers she can no longer land on her tailbone given her spine injury. And so that limits her move set. Brawler, I know another guy the other direction, Stone Cold landing on the top of his head, who had to adjust his move set before him, the biggest run of his career. I am so excited to have Thunder Rosa back. I think she's immensely talented. And not only that, against Red Velvet last night, Tijuana Bomb victory for Thunder Rosa, but Red Velvet can go. This is someone who we were comfortable putting in the ring with Jade Cargill and Shaq on the other side, alongside Cody Rhodes, the cover athlete for WWE 2K24, who had that on their bingo cards. But Red Velvet looked good in this match. She took the logical loss. This match was more about Thunder Rosa in her return. Renewed move set, renewed mindset. 500 days between Dynamite appearances. And she makes her return. Pretty impressive, though, Shad, right?
Man, why you do this to me, bro? It was okay. It was all right.
Ah,
It was all right. It was a solid match. And for your point, I'm so happy to see Thunder Rosa back. I think this is a good chain of matches to kind of get more used to the ring, get back into it. But I do want to see some direction for what she is going to do next. Obviously, we have her having these matches and maybe reminding people and whatnot, but it's not doing anything to kind of boost her in regards to the crowd being as excited, just seeing her back and whatnot. But I want to see a feud. I mean, we had a feud that I thought was going to happen with her and Julia Hart. By the way, if I don't know if you guys caught this at the end of the match, she was mouthing off, talking to the camera and saying, "I'm coming for the title. If that's you, Tony Storm." And then she blanked out and she forgot Julia Hart's name when trying to mention the second person who had the title. Did y'all see that?
I caught it.
Yeah, that was really funny to me.
It happened.
Um, it was a solid match. To your point about Red Velvet, man, let me say this: Red Velvet, in my opinion, could have been pipeline to be the person to take the TBS title off of Jade Cargill and been a ready-made superstar in the women's division, and they dropped the ball with her a lot. I think Red Velvet, for how talented she is, how much she's improved, how long she's been there, she was in a match, like you said, with Shaquille O'Neal, Cody Rhodes, and Jade Cargill. She was in the faction with Jade Cargill. They had a ready made storyline tied with her and Jade Cargill, and it slipped. And after Jade left and after the baddies dismembered, it seems like Red Velvet has not been able to recover, and she's back to kind of just being a in-ring jobber on the roster, and that isn't cool with me, man. I don't like that at all. I think she's better than a lot of women on the roster that they push. I'll be real with you. I think she's got something to her, and it is a little annoying, but it is where we are at this stage in the game.
I, I agree with so much of what you said there, other than that I will say the knee brace that she's had to work around and the knee injury that she suffered was very, very clear. And so she was out for nearly a year with a very serious injury she had to rehab. And that's clearly not her fault, right? So
Yeah, but
but
there's
the
ways
fact that Jade
to
Cargill left during the
listen.
time she's in rehab, you cannot wrestle from physical therapy. That's just that's just not that's not a choice. And if you're rehabbing a torn
True.
ACL, that is not on her. I would not blame Red Velvet in any way because I agree with you. There is a story that was to be told between her and Jade, given
Yeah,
their backstory, and I agree 1,000%. I think it's just a shame sometimes you can't time
bro.
injuries.
I'll tell you this. This is before I was part of Wrestling Republic. I loved the baddies. I thought they was the most intriguing like women's faction that they had.
Oh, that
I
was
thought
fun.
Red I thought Red Velvet, Kiera Hogan, Layla Gray also when she was tied to it, and of course Jade Cargill looked like $5 million, bro. Like just like $500 million, right? Money printed on it, and I feel like they could have been positioned more. Like it's something about just the presentation and then Jade being the head honcho of it that it could have been a lot bigger for them, and it could have been a boost for the women's division for booking wise too. But who am I to say that?
I hear you. I hear you 100%. Let's get on to our last match we're going to break down here from AEW Dynamite. Let's talk about Adam Copeland and Minoru Suzuki. Dream match in some's eyes, something that I don't know anybody in the world over the last decade that went, you know what we might see in 2024 is the main event of a cable televised wrestling show with Suzuki and Adam Copeland. Nobody had that on their bingo card, but guess what? We got it. We got it last night. It was a slugfest. Was it a little past due? Sure. I enjoyed it. Two of the best entrances in all of professional wrestling. We've got On This Day and Kazinare. I mean, it's just you can't make it up. Like if you're I fanned out a bit just for the pageantry of the fact that we would get the match. Of course, to me, I've compared it all day to it's like Foreman Holyfield. Would we have liked it 15 years earlier? Yup. Did we get it and still watch? 100%. How could you not? It's Suzuki and the artist formerly known as Edge, Adam Copeland. It was fun. A lot of reversals. It was a slugfest. Fujiwara armbar reversal on the spear. My favorite spot of the match, personally. I enjoyed it. The right guy got the win. Anthony, I want your thoughts on the match for sure, though. What were you feeling during this one?
I don't think you want my thoughts on this.
No.
And, here's the thing, Suzuki. I'm not familiar with his during his peak era. Like I haven't seen the footage. I only know old man Suzuki. And to be quite frank, I don't get the appeal of this guy. I don't get it. Every one of his matches are the same thing. You slap me, I slap you. You could slap harder. This was not a dream match on my card. Was it a match no one thought would ever happen? Yes, I will give you that. But this was a lackluster main event on a lackluster Dynamite. I don't think it was a great match. It's one of those things that Adam Copeland could check off the box of going, hey, I was in the ring with Suzuki. That's about it. It's not a match that anybody would go back and go, I need to rewatch that. That was a classic. It was not. I mean, Adam going over was smart. My question with Adam Copeland is this. We know he probably has limited time left in that ring. I don't know how smart it is wasting him in certain matches that they've been putting him on with. I mean, I know in Collision they've been putting him with the young guys, and I get it. The young guys want to wrestle Edge, the guy they grew up again watching. I don't know if I'd be wasting him in those situations. I'd put him in the money matches. That you don't know how long you have him. The money matches are the ones to put him in.
I, I hear where you're coming from, but I gotta disagree on Suzuki. I mean, you're talking about a guy that nearly invented modern MMA, fought in mixed martial arts, has performed around the world, Gotch style pile driver, trained by Carl Gotch, essentially. Um, Being his style, I do get limited at his age, but I mean, with Adam Copeland on the other end of the ring, and Copeland appears to be pretty dang healthy because that move set has opened up in a way that we haven't seen in beyond the decade that we were robbed of what was one of the greatest careers, what is one of the greatest careers in professional wrestling history. I gotta ask you, Shad, were you let down by this match, or what were your thoughts on the results?
So I liked it for the ambiance of it just being random, weird, and something we would never get to see more so. Um, I don't think at Minoru Suzuki's age he's some like top level, champion athlete. Like Edge is still, to be real with you, like Edge at his age is a top level guy on AEW. But it's just one of the facts that since we got Edge on AEW, why not? Why not go and give him the AEW experience? Why not allow him to wrestle guys from New Japan and people we would never expect him to wrestle? Because this is what he signed up for. And I think Minoru Suzuki, as a murder grandpa at this moment, Suzuki Goon himself, is entertaining, and it was an entertaining match. It wasn't a great match. I'll be real with you. It wasn't some like 5-star classic, and I didn't expect it to be a 5-star classic, but it served the purpose as something entertaining and whatnot. My thing is this, and it goes back to the crowd in Savannah, Georgia. I don't think that crowd deserved that match at all
Yeah.
because they didn't really like know what it was and they didn't really appreciate it. So that could have been a match where you could have put it out on the West Coast, right? A California crowd who's more, you know, tied to what goes on in the Japanese wrestling circuit and whatnot would appreciate it a little bit more. And I think it took away from it because it's the fact that it's a super slow paced match with a lot of chops and, more methodical, slower paced moves. And you had a dead crowd, and it was at 10 o'clock at night on a Wednesday, and
Right.
people were probably tired. It just didn't hit the same off of that aspect. So, did it live up to my personal satisfaction? Maybe not, but I'm I didn't dislike it. I thought it was pretty solid for overall, and it's a check mark for him. So,
And I do agree with both of you on if Minoru Suzuki could match the speed that Adam Copeland is capable of still retaining at this age, I think it's a different match. At this stage of Minoru's career, that's probably not possible athletically. So that's a tall order as far as matching that. So I do agree that it was more methodical than you would have asked for. But at least on paper, I enjoyed it. Coach 23 had it in the comments. At this rate, Adam Copeland should be gunning for the world title. I kind of hear that. I much prefer still stick with the TNT. He already won it once, win it again. Maybe not. Maybe don't win it. I don't know. But I still see him in the TNT title picture. We got another comment here over on YouTube from Numero One Superfly, which is have to agree with Shad's thoughts on Red Velvet from earlier. And then we've got another one that Trish Adora and Queen Aminata are great too. I agree.
Trisha Dora from the DMV, baby.
It is though. With that, let's shut it down real quick on AEW Dynamite. And remember, it's Rumble Week. It is Rumble Week. Let's talk about our favorite Rumbles. And not only that, our favorite Rumble moments. So my first one that I'm going to start this off. My first and all-time favorite Rumble moment is still and really not close. Mil Mascaras eliminating himself in the 97 Rumble. It tickles me to this day. It's hysterical. We watched it a few weeks back over here off the air, and it turns out he went under the middle rope, or he went under the top rope, through the middle rope before he did eliminate himself. I'm pretty confident that means he's still in the 97 Rumble to this day, but it's one of my favorite, funniest Rumble moments. Nothing better than a good countdown. Anthony, I got to ask you, give me some of your favorite Rumble moments of all time.
Well, the one thing I want to point out, the Mil Mascaras thing, I was on that watch party with you, and I'm the one that pointed out Mil Mascaras went through the middle rope.
True
and
that.
and he's been in the Rumble for like, I don't know, was it 8,800 days or some 9,800 days, some insane number like that. I don't have one particular Rumble favorite moment. Oddly enough, today is 20 years to the day that I went to the '04 Rumble, or as I frequently like to call it, the Forgotten Rumble, because of who won. Um, and the black cloud that followed. I think one of the most important ones was just before I started watching was the '98 Rumble, because when you think about it, it is literally the first major tentpole pay per view after the Montreal Screwjob, after the whole Brett screwed Brett, all that, and the momentum with Austin winning it and going to Mania 14 and beating Shawn Michaels, and the whole feud with Austin McMahon, which propelled the company. The company was in a much better financial situation after they screwed Brett, technically. As far as like iconic ones, 2016 when AJ Styles debuted at number 3, that's one of the ones that I go back to. '02, which was right after WCW had closed, some months prior. We got to see Mr. Perfect make his return to the company, Goldust. They were both supposed to only be one night only, but they performed so well in the ring, they ended up getting new contracts. On that, we've seen people make surprise returns and be one offs. We've seen people come in to, and end up getting a job long term. We've seen not only just the winner of the Rumble getting that WrestleMania main event match, we've seen situations where feuds are either further escalated or started because of the Rumble. And one of those moments to me that is one of my favorites. 2018 when they first started doing the women's and the men's Rumble, I was there for that. Watch Asuka win. I saw Nakamura win 18, and a lot of people I think forget the final two in there were Roman and Nakamura, and it was in Philly, so the crowd was very afraid that Roman was going to win again in Philly at the Rumble because they booed him out of the building when he won a few years prior. Not even The Rock could save him on that. But one of my absolute favorites, and it's probably a very underrated moment, I got to say Mickie James a few years ago when she came out with the hardcore country music and wearing the Impact Knockouts title. A moment that no one ever thought would happen, that WWE would let somebody from another company come out wearing their title. They acknowledged it. I get it. There was a backstory for why they said yes, but they didn't have to. They could have easily said, no, if you insist, we're getting somebody else. But they let it happen. And it was such a cool moment, Forbidden Door, if you want to call it. And, the first one, you got to Hacksaw Jim Duggan won the first one back in '88. So, I mean, there was no WrestleMania main event for him, but like he could still claim to this day he was the first winner of the Royal Rumble. And when they did the by the numbers this week, 1,300 people have entered Royal Rumbles, and less than 40 of them have actually won the thing. That's a staggering number and a very elite one. And my last comment on this, the Saudi Greatest Royal Rumble is not a real Royal Rumble. I don't care if they call it that or not. There's only one Royal Rumble. It's in January.
I hear you on that with the Greatest Royal Rumble thing. There's no doubt that is, to me, doesn't count. So many great memories that you mentioned, so many good ones. And I gotta ask you, Shad, your favorite Rumble memories. And I hope
My
none were taken. I'm kidding.
So, well, I've never got an opportunity to go to a Royal Rumble, and that's something I definitely want to do on my wish list of stuff to do. But my favorite Royal Rumble of all time is Royal Rumble 2000. I remember watching that bootlegged with my older brother. I was 8 years old, and I'm a big Triple H fan. Triple H is my favorite wrestler of all time, and Triple H versus Cactus Jack hardcore match is my favorite wrestling match of all time. Being in New York, like just I loved everything about it, man. All the bloodshed. It's one of those great moments. Of course, we got the debut with Taz on that on WWE with his match versus Kurt Angle and Kurt Angle's theatrics of being knocked out and waking up like, did I win? Like, kind of going on there. Royal Rumble 2000 was great for me. Specific moments, man. Royal Rumble 2002 when Maven eliminated the Undertaker. I thought that was one of the coolest, greatest things. I don't know why, man. I actually randomly met Maven one time at a 7-Eleven around DC, and he's a really cool dude. But that's just one of those like, what? How? Why did that happen? How did that happen? Kind of moments. Um, and then like in regards to just appearances and just other moments, man, I love what the I forgot which one it was, but when Kofi was doing all the crazy stuff, we talked about Naomi doing all the crazy stuff with the saves, all showing off the athleticisms, Edge's return back, which is a monumental moment. Speaking about him, obviously on AW, but that was great. And Bianca Belair in 2001, man, I that was a special one to me. 2021, sorry, is a special one to me because that's when I'm a big Bianca fan, and seeing her go to the opportunity to have the match at WrestleMania 37 with Sasha, that was triumphant to see, and just seeing how dominant she is in all rumbles that she's at. So there's a lot, man. I can name a lot of different other moments too, but those are the few ones I liked a lot.
I hear you, man. And in great moments, we got some awesome comments to add into it. We got one here from our good buddy Pierce Kiernan, which is Jens. How we doing? We're doing awesome, man. Good to have you, Pierce, as always. And then another one here from David Modge, which is that was cool how you all pop in and out. Appreciate that, man, dude. I'm working on the camera cuts. I'm doing my absolute best on that one. And then this is funny from same commenter here, David Modge, which is yeah, I'd like to see Ryback make a Rumble entrance. No one would expect it, and he's always ready. I'll tell you what, that'd be some nuclear heat.
I am confident in the old saying, "Never say never." He is the never.
David and Ryback are the only two people that want to see Ryback in the Royal Rumble, and I respect it.
Yes, and then Matt Williams shout out Matt Williams, Ryback in the chat.
Oh no.
And then
on a third.
And then we got Coach 23 over on Instagram with Triple H and Cactus Jack from 2000, and I believe he meant dang. But you know what he wrote. I'm kidding. Shout out Coach 23, but can't curse on air, man. I'm doing my best. But go ahead.
Shad mentioned a great moment with Edge, and then the year later, Christian making his return too. Yeah. And that moment of the two of them hugging, and this was a moment that no one thought. Both their careers were taken from them due to injury. They're both back, thriving. This is a chance for both guys to close the chapter on their career on their terms, which is something they were robbed from.
And I don't know if you were reading Pierce Kiernan's mind, but he always said,
"No, I didn't."
I always loved the Christian reunion, as short-lived as it was. It was an amazing moment, especially in that Rumble Edge going first to last. So cool and so fun. I mean, for me, Rumble memories-wise, though, can't go without mentioning. It's funny, I'm not a huge John Cena guy.
Yes, but I was going to mention that.
That was an MSG one
Cena's
too.
Best title defense in his entire career was against Umaga in that last man standing match. I believe it was 08.
Maybe, but
I believe it was 08.
I thought you were going to go his Rumble return.
No, I thought you were going to go his Rumble return to MSG, man.
I actually believe his best single WWE title defense in his entire career was that one. The MSG return, while iconic, to me, that match against Umaga, breaking the rope, using the rope for the STFU at the time.
Great match.
Which was whatever the I don't know what you call it after that, but just
an STF. It was just an STF at that point. They got rid of
the Attitude TF.
Oh,
whatever they called it.
Think about that, like 2000 Rumble, like Shad mentioned, it was Cactus and Triple H.
Yes.
Also on that show was the first tables match, the Dudleys and the Hardys.
Outlaws
on that, and of course
on that show as well.
One of the funniest moments is the end of that Rumble. If I'm remembering correctly, Rock and Big Show both go out, and then they fight over who did it. And then years later in the backstage, and Rock goes, "You know what? My feet did it first. It's fine. It didn't affect your career."
Nah, you'll be fine. And there's been some other funny comments about and we don't want to bring up anything about any torn quads, but feet hitting at the same time. Of course, we had Cena and Batista in the Rumble hitting at the same time as a classic. One of the ones that I'll never forget.
Has a good one when Mysterio returned in 2018.
Absolutely. Yes. I was going to add to that the classic, the original feet hit at the same time is Bret Hart and Luger.
Yes. That one
right?
was intense.
And then David Modge is on fire over here in the comments too. He added 95 with Sean's foot.
See,
Only
yeah.
one in 95.
The skin the cat,
Such a
which has
classic.
become, everyone seems to do it now, but at the time it was a big deal. And I don't know if they ever really established that both feet must hit the floor until after the Shawn thing. Like, I think they really emphasized it after it,
Yes.
like, because that was the big deal. I mean, Dolph Ziggler is another one that was a Rumble favorite. Like, I think he's got some record or close to it. Gunther last year with the longevity in it.
Longest reign.
You know, I love when they do the by the numbers because they give you information that you really wouldn't expect. Like, I think like this last week there was like 1,300 people have entered, and I'm like, I know you're including the greatest one, but still a high number regardless. Even, if we're including the greatest, the most iconic moment is Titus sliding under the ring.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that is the greatest moment if you're looking for that.
Boom, boom, trip. It was perfect.
The
Like,
announcers lost it.
oh
You know,
no.
think about like this Rumble. It's 10 years. CM Punk's making his in-ring on TV debut return. 10 years at the very event was the last one. Like, that's so unbelievable.
Crazy.
Like, when you think about it, I know they're playing it up as his first match, his first TV match. We know he's done.
What was the year that he kept like cutting, like he had the mic during the whole time during the Rumble? Was that 13? Was that not 13? That may have been like, was that 11 or 12?
It was
I don't remember.
early 2010s, 11, 12, or 13. I'm not sure. Honestly, if somebody in the comments wants to give us the scoop on that,
He's
look
trying to
that
get
up.
them to join the
Get that right. That'd be
Edge,
amazing.
Straight
Like,
Edge
yeah.
Society. That was funny.
No, quality stuff.
I am wondering. This is sort of Rumble related. WWE re-released the iconic CM Punk shirt, the best in the world shirt, the white one. And on the website, it's listed as a special event item that they will not fulfill until like the end of February. I wonder if he goes in the Rumble wearing that shirt.
Yes.
I can see that.
It's very possible. I mean, who knows? 2011, Coach 23's got us. He's got us. 2011 Nexus Punk. That's the year that he had the microphone. Thank you, Coach 23. Much appreciated. That's awesome. Yeah.
The funny thing is, I
right.
remember watching that Royal Rumble, and I wasn't like watching WWE heavy into it, and I love CM Punk at that time, and I was just like, yo, this guy is so like funny, man.
Think about 99. Like that is such a bizarre. I mean, granted, who won and all that stuff, but like it was such a wild one that, like, if you remember, Austin's taken out in the beginning of it. He gets taken to the hospital and comes back in the ambulance to finish the match.
Yeah.
I mean, that if there was an epitome to the Attitude Era, that was the epitome of over the top ridiculous, that he went to the hospital and came back and the match was still going on. When you think about it,
Austin is one of the Rumble goats. He's the one that's
he's
won it the most, right?
Won
He's won it 3 times, right? Yeah.
Okay, wait. Just while we're on the Rumble history subject, and this is half terrible but half really funny. Coach 23 asked, if a wrestler has a prosthetic leg and he removes it before the match, can he actually not be eliminated? Was Zach Gowen ever in the Rumble?
I'll look.
I'm dead serious. That's a really good question.
I will see if Zach Gowen was in
like
one.
It is terrible, but the comments wise, I mean,
wasn't Hornswoggle in one?
Yes,
but he has both legs.
I know, but
Hornswoggle was like, was it?
Oh, that is ridiculous. I wonder how do you navigate this?
So I googled
like the NFL. You have to get a knee down.
I literally Googled it, and the first thing that came up was a Reddit thing going, can Zach Gowen technically be eliminated from the Royal Rumble? So let me see if he was actually in one.
I didn't know Hornswoggle was as young as he is, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be anything there. I'm not even sure. I will say,
09. It was 09,
One
Bobby.
of my funniest Rumble rules, or not rules, Rumble memories, is I went to the show in '99 with my dad and my little sister, and I was about 8 years old at the time. Not about, I was literally 8 years old, and my sister was 2 years younger. And my dad had to take my sister back to the hotel after the Rock and Foley I quit
Oh wow.
because it was that one didn't
Brutal.
that one
That was
didn't go quite as anticipated. Bobby added 2009 to
I think
the
that's what you talking about, the Hornswoggle.
that's
Yeah.
Hornswoggle,
I,
yes.
I I have not been able to find anything that Zach was in it, but he tweeted January 27th, 2019, I guess when he was watching the Royal Rumble. He went, "Wait, so both feet must hit the floor to be eliminated from the Royal Rumble?" So, I mean, he's in on
Hey,
the,
seemed fair to
Oh
me.
man.
yeah,
He's
if
in
that
on a
helps you at
bit.
all.
Man,
So,
I'm excited for Saturday though, man. I feel
I
like
seriously am too.
I feel that we have a sense of like a lot of main stage stars on both brands where it's gonna be the one thing I love about the Royal Rumble is like even if you don't win, like just like to what you said, lasting as long as you did, like Gunther, Shayna
mhm,
Baszler having the most, you know, eliminations, like that adds so much to prestige as your character. You can
mhm.
create storylines within the Rumble with people, you eliminated me and whatnot. Like there's a lot of cool stuff that can occur to it.
Okay, wait,
And
guys, really quickly before we do go though, over here at the top of the hour, we have got a great question from Jay Skeet. Who gets the biggest pop in this year's Rumble? That is such a good question, Anthony. Who do you got?
I would say CM Punk. I think the
Punk.
return Punk is the thing I love about the Rumble is no matter how long you've been watching wrestling, there's that unpredictability. And that is what makes it special because you don't know who's coming out. You don't know when. You think you might know who wins, but you don't really know. Like, I love that unpredictability because it's the one time as a fan it doesn't really get spoiled because they kind of keep it close to the vests. So,
Totally. Who do you got, Shad?
I would probably say him, but you know what? I'll go with another person that I think is gonna make their debut, and it being in Florida will be a big time moment. Miss Jade Cargill. I think she's gonna get a very good receptive response from the fans, and I think it's going to be something that we'll be excited for because I think the presentation it'll be the first time we see Jade possibly enter into the WWE as a superstar within some aspect of a match with a song presentation, all that. I think that's going to be a pretty big moment.
I totally hear that, and I gotta say myself, I am Jay Skeet. Don't spoil my pick. It's gonna be If You Smell What the Rock is cooking. No doubt that's the biggest pop of the night. Everyone's gonna go wild for that one. It's The Rock. It's
if
what's
he's
gonna
if he's
happen.
if he's in it, I
If
agree
he's
with you.
in it,
He's in it.
yeah, if he's
He's
in it, I
in it.
mean that man can
They're
get
blowing the roof
reaction.
off the place. He's in it. And I mean, we'll get Rocky along the way. I think without question, I pray that they don't have him enter at 30. We've done number 30 wins too many times.
Which
I've seen it
oddly,
too many times.
which oddly enough, I think Taker was the first one to win at 30. Like it was many years before 30 actually won the
Sorry,
thing.
Clark. If he's in it, he's entering it at 30. He
No.
is
Yeah.
not working that whole match.
Yeah,
25, 25, 27. Wait, nobody's ever won from 27. Or, yeah, is it 28 or
Are you
27?
sure on that?
There's one or two of them in the high 20s. Not one or two. It's either 27 or 28. No one's ever won from. Or maybe it's 29. That's where he'll enter and be the first one from there. To pad the stats. That's what I'm saying.
We'll
With
have to
that,
see,
by the way,
man.
everybody, I
Let's see if we can use the
apologize.
stats pad it.
Sorry, I was just pretty much thinking aloud on air there, which was delightful though. But thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Please continue to do so. We'll be back tomorrow, 3 hours earlier. if you want to tune in. That's going to be 3 o'clock in the East. That's noon Pacific, 2 Central, 8 in the UK. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do. It means the world to us on YouTube, on Instagram, on all of it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. On behalf of me, Clark Taylor, Anthony Ricciardi, Shad Huda, thank you so much, as always, and have a great